All right, so how do we form the regular plural? The plural is generally formed by adding s to the singular. So dove becomes doves, chair becomes chairs, thought becomes thoughts. However, when the noun ends in x, ch, sh, ss, or s, we add es in the plural. Box becomes boxes, church, churches, kiss, kisses, bus, buses. And notice that when we added the es, we've also had to add a syllable. So these words were all originally one syllable words, right? Box, church, kiss, bus. However, by adding es, not only did we add two additional letters, we've also added a second or an additional syllable. So now we say boxes, two syllables, and likewise churches, kisses, and buses. And really, the rationale for why we add es to these words and we don't just add s is simply that doing otherwise would make it really difficult, if not impossible, to pronounce. Right? So imagine pronouncing box, or even you could try it without adding the e, right? It wouldn't really be, you wouldn't be able to discriminate whether it's a singular or plural, right? So box, box, right? It sounds exactly the same. On the other hand, church, you could try to add an S. It would sound different, but it would simply be very difficult to pronounce because the ch and the s, they're pronounced in very similar or articulated in very similar places in the mouth. So it's difficult really to distinguish. So we could even try it. Church is a singular and the plural would be without the e, hypothetically speaking, would be church. Church. You see, it's next to impossible to pronounce. And likewise, kiss and bus. It simply is difficult or next to impossible to pronounce without adding an additional syllable. Nouns that end in o have usually es added to form the plural. Cargoes, echoes, heroes, potatoes, volcanoes. So unlike the previous nouns that I had mentioned, where es is added, with these nouns, despite adding es, the number of syllables doesn't change. So cargo singular is two syllables, and likewise cargoes plural is two syllables. Sometimes, however, only an S is added. For example, portfolios. Nouns ending in a single F or FE are made plural by changing the endings into VES. So loaf becomes loaves, the F is dropped and F and VES is added. Half becomes halves, wife, wives. There are some exceptions, of course. Grief, griefs, relief, reliefs, reproof, reproofs. Nouns which end in y in the singular with no other vowel in the same syllable change the y into ies in the plural form. Beauty becomes beauties, fly, flies. When there is a vowel in the same syllable as the final y, it doesn't change. So, for example, key remains, the y remains, and we just add an s. Delay, delays, attorney, attorneys. And the reason being, of course, that there's a vowel in the same syllable.